Good afternoon. Welcome to the Midday Mull for Friday, the 17th of October. With McShane, we're reading Paul's first letter to the Thessalonians, today the third chapter. He begins telling them that he sent Timothy, the assistant to them, to encourage them. And he says, so that no one would be unsettled by these trials. He's talking about the trials that he was undergoing as a prisoner, the trials that the Thessalonians faced, the trials that were being brought into the church by the opposition of false teaching. All these trials. He says, for you know quite well that we are destined for them. And he tells them, we warned you about this. We're destined for these trials. And I thought in the world today, there are many parts of this world where people are facing the same trials Paul did, where they're being arrested and locked up. They're having their churches confiscated. They're being closely monitored by the authorities. And being a Christian is actually dangerous. And yet people continue doing it. And they can hold on to this passage and say, yes, this is exactly what God said life would be like. For us in the West, we haven't experienced that for a long time, but I think it may well be rising. As the Western society becomes more and more atheist, religious toleration is broad, but as long as religion doesn't have any kind of stand or have anything to say about the social reality. So if you say anything about sexuality, if you say anything about poverty, if you say anything about the legal system, you're likely to find pushback. And that's part of what happens as we're Christians. And then a little later in verse 12, Paul says to the Thessalonians, may the Lord make your love increase and overflow for each other and for everyone else, just as ours does for you. And as I read that, I thought, Paul isn't saying to the Thessalonians, therefore, make your love increase more and more, or see to it that you generate more love. You've been commanded, be loving, so be loving. He says, may the Lord make your love increase. As I read that, I thought, that's how God works. He tells us what we need to do, and then he gives us what we need to do it. He says, love your neighbor, and he gives us that love. He can increase our love more and more, that we can love like he told us to. When he tells us to forgive, he gives us that heart of forgiveness, that we can pass that on. And as we face the struggles and the persecutions and the trials that Paul speaks of, we can cry out to God and say, Lord, you told us to stand strong. Give us that strength. Lord, you told us to hold on to you. Give us that grasp of your word. Lord, you've told us how we need to live. Give us what we need to live like you want us to live. And the wonderful thing is, God does that. So my prayer is that our trials will be mild, but such as they are, God will give us the strength to stand for him in the face of whatever opposition there might be. May he increase our love more and more. Be blessed.